First tonight, on December 23rd, the Friday before Christmas, a storm lashed Maine with exceptionally high tides and wind gusts of up to 65 miles per hour.
Dave Dosty and Ben Williamson are professional photographers who love to shoot outdoors in Maine, and they knew that day might give them the opportunity to get some extraordinary photos. They went into action before the storm hit, watching the weather forecast and making plans.
First thing I did is look at the tides. I knew the waves were going to be big, so looked at the time of the tides, high tide. Wanted to get there before high tide, and just made the commitment to drive to Portland. I knew where I was going to go, and I actually reached out to Ben and said, "Hey, what do you think it's going to look like?"
You guys both were shooting that morning from along the South Portland, Cape Elizabeth coastlines. Why did you decide that was where you wanted to be?
It was a hard decision. I told Dave, I'm like, maybe we should go to Rockland, or, maybe we should go down to Nubble. And then it just landed on Portland. This is where I find myself drawn over and over, especially Portland Headlight for big weather events. I think it's just the place to be.
You both knew that the weather was going to be extreme. When you actually were out there Friday morning and the tide was coming in and the winds were picking up, what was it like to shoot out there?
The raindrops hurt, they hit the face, the wind was blowing the raindrops in your face, it stung.
Ben, just a couple of the basics. How do you keep raindrops off the camera lens? How do you keep the camera still in those conditions? Even if you got a tripod, how do you keep it still?
You have to have a really high shutter speed, and I was constantly adjusting camera settings to have my shutter speed up over 1,000th of a second because you're moving so much in the wind and rain. I had a rain cover to protect my camera, but still everything was completely drenched. Like, I was drenched, the camera was pretty wet, and then wiping off the front element of the lens every now and then.
I was dry.
What you guys probably did not expect to see when you were out there shooting was a fishing boat. Gene Fry is the captain of that fishing boat. Gene, let me ask you, what were you doing out there on Friday?
Trying to get home. We're just on our way home. We've been out for like 3 days.
And you'd seen the forecast, but you couldn't get in sooner than Friday?
Well, I ended up a little further away than I intended to be, and because of the weather, we ended up going a little slower than I thought we would. And then once I got to a certain point, I timed it so I would come through at high tide, because at low tide, those ledges would be even more treacherous.
When you were shooting, or just when you were on the shoreline and you saw the fishing boat out there in these mountainous waves, did you immediately say?
Home. He had packed up.
So I had my phone at the time. I had gone back, and then I saw the boat, and I said, "Geez, I need my camera." So I booked it for my car, and I got back just in time to line the boat up passing Ram Island, and. It was just phenomenal. I mean, to have that included in some of the compositions.
When I first saw the photos, I was just looking at them on my phone, so the screen was small. And it wasn't until I had flipped through them, I think the second time, that I saw the little flash of color on the deck, which indicated that there were 1 or 2 people out on the deck. What were they doing out there, Gene?
We had some barrels of lobster bait, monkheads, that broke loose. So they were just back there securing them.
Were you fearful of your life at that point?
It really wasn't that bad aboard the boat. They were getting tortured more than I was.
that is total baloney. That is total baloney.
It wasn't that bad aboard the boat. It really wasn't.
When we saw the boat, we were like, oh no. Like, are they okay?
Just to see it come in and out of the waves, I mean, it's a one in a lifetime.
If it was bad, and I told the guys to go out there and secure those barrels, they would have said, no, we're not going out there. So,
well, let me ask you about some of the images you got. Waves crashing over the jetty between Spring Point Lighthouse and the mainland by Fort Preble. How did you get that shot? Did you know you had something really special when you snapped it?
Just being there in that moment was incredible. And I am completely in my element when there's bad weather. Like, that's why I love being out. So I knew that I was having a great time and that this event was like nothing I'd ever been in. Like, these are the biggest waves I've ever seen. Fort Preble and Spring Point is in the harbor almost, and to have waves that big there was it was wild. So I knew I was getting cool stuff, and even if the photos hadn't come out, I would have been happy.
Did you have a pretty good sense that you were getting good stuff, or did you really not know if these pictures were going to come out and really be what you had hoped they'd be?
It's a great question. I mean, I shot a lot of photos. I knew I'd get some that would come out, but there was so much condensation and moisture on the end of the glass. I didn't know.
How many photos did you take?
I shot about 500 or so in the course of, an hour.
I did 3,000.
Wow.
1,000?
Yeah.
So you, in the course of how long?
About 2 or 3 hours. I was shooting in high-speed burst mode, so that's how I got some of these shots. Is like when you're doing this high frame rate, you capture the moment of peak intensity. And that's what I was going for, like the biggest wave at the most dramatic moment.
Gene, what are you going to most remember about that day, Friday, December 23rd?
That it's on film, really. I mean, I would never have expected anyone to be out there taking pictures. So that's pretty cool.
Ben, what are going to be your lasting memories, would you say?
These two guys right here.
Yeah, and I met two good guys too.
I would echo the same thing. It's just overall a wonderful experience, bringing people together, and it doesn't happen if you don't get out there.
Wasn't that bad? What? Spoken like a true Maine fisherman right there.
Quintessential Maine fisherman.
Gosh.
So that's one way that you get those kinds of shots, is you take 3,000 photos.
Quick.
Yeah.
That little time lapse was cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. If you would like to find out more about Dave Dostie and Benjamin Williamson and their photography, just head to the 207 section of our News Center Maine website. They're friends, they're buddies, they shoot together, but they each have their own photography business.
Awesome. And out of chaos came a friendship.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a wonderful story.